On a Wednesday cloaked in a gentle mist, the kind of day that passes quietly without ceremony, my boots squelched through shallow puddles, poorly chosen for the damp weather. A shared friend arranged for us to meet over lunch at a lively diner where the hum of voices and the clatter of plates created a warm chaos. He wasn't the one dominating the discussion, but his laughter, raw and unpolished, pulled my focus. His name was Liam. He didn't rely on polished lines or deliberate charm to win me over. Instead, he listened, truly absorbed as I shared pieces of my life, not with a cursory glance, but with a quiet, authentic curiosity. He even remembered my dog's name. And a few days later, he sent me a snapshot of a beagle-shaped keychain paired with a brief message. "This made me think of you." It was a small, heartfelt gesture that brought a smile to my face. Yet I dismissed it, not because I wasn't drawn to him. I was undeniably, but because I felt unarmed by the feeling. I'd recently walked away from a relationship that had started with intensity and dwindled into a weary, draining fade. Not dramatic, but depleting, leaving me cautious and guarded. So, when Liam entered my life, consistent and sincere, with no trace of pretense, I faltered. My heart wasn't used to being handled with such care. But he didn't demand more. He remained, offering subtle signs of care. A text asking about my day, a song he thought I'd appreciate. Nothing extravagant or performative, just genuine. Eventually, I agreed to join him for dinner. We went to a snug bistro nestled in the city's core where the aroma of fresh herbs and shared laughter filled the space. He held the door open, eased my chair out, and kept his phone out of sight. Felt natural, almost too natural, and that unsettled me. I'd grown accustomed to love feeling like a constant effort, decoding intentions, mending cracks, navigating uncertainty. Liam brought a sense of ease, and I wasn't sure how to hold on to something so unfamiliar. We continued to meet. Nothing structured, just moments that flowed effortlessly. But I kept a barrier up. Whenever he edged closer, I'd pull away, deflect with a joke, change the topic, tuck parts of myself out of reach. He saw it, of course. One evening, as we walked back from a meal, he stopped and met my eyes. "You don't have to guard yourself with me," he said softly. "I'm not here to cause you pain." I managed a faint smile, said nothing, because I couldn't trust that someone who spoke those words would stand by them. Then came the night I distanced him for good. We were at a charming rooftop spot he'd selected, draped in twinkling lights with gentle music weaving through the air and a soft breeze drifting past. He asked about my week, and as I spoke about work, he listened as though my words were the most compelling story he'd encountered. Then came a quiet moment ripe for truth. He leaned closer, his eyes unwavering, and said, "I really care about you, you know." A wave of panic surged through me. I looked away, forced a quick laugh, took a sip of wine I didn't want. Then I spoke. "You're incredible, Liam, but I'm just not ready." I tried to say it gently, with a smile to soften the impact, but I saw the words land. His gaze dulled. His shoulders squared as if to brace himself. He nodded, offered a faint smile, one that masked his hurt, and signaled for the check. No arguments, no insistence, just a quiet dignity. He paid, rose, and looked at me one last time. "Take care, okay," he said. Then he walked away. I stayed there, staring at the table, reassuring myself I'd made the right choice. I wasn't ready. He deserved someone who could give him their whole heart, not someone carrying the weight of old wounds. But beneath that reasoning, it wasn't Liam I questioned. It was myself. He saw parts of me I hadn't even shown, stood by a version of me I hadn't yet embraced. And instead of letting him in, I shut him out gently but firmly. I told myself I was sparing him, but I was shielding myself from being truly seen, from accepting a love I didn't feel I'd earned. That night I checked my phone. Nothing. I scrolled through our old messages. The playful memes, the goodnight texts, the small notes that felt like a quiet embrace. They carried such warmth. The next morning, his name didn't appear in my notifications. Not blocked, just absent. I wanted to reach out to say something, anything. But what could I offer? That I didn't mean it. But I had, in that moment. I genuinely thought I wasn't prepared. Maybe I still wasn't. But readiness isn't something you stumble upon. It's a decision you make. And I didn't decide on him. Days stretched into weeks, then months. I went out with others. Some sparked laughter. Some left me chasing fleeting thrills. But no one offered the safety Liam did. And safety, I came to see, isn't ordinary. It's a gift. One afternoon, while picking up groceries at a familiar market, I caught sight of him across the street, hand in hand with someone new. She looked at him with a warmth I'd never fully shown, claiming him in a way I hadn't. He looked content, lighter than I'd ever known him to be. The truth hit me. He wasn't waiting for me. He'd found someone who didn't shy away from love when it arrived. I never reached out, not because I didn't want to, but because I knew he'd found someone who saw his worth without needing time to weigh it. Sometimes we don't lose people because they stop caring. We lose them because they realize we'll never choose them the way they choose us. And maybe that's the deepest wound. Not that he walked away, but that I gave him every reason to keep going. So if you find yourself across from someone who sees you, really sees you, and your instinct is to pull back because it feels too gentle, too constant, too right, stay. Don't let fear steer your heart, because saying, "I'm not ready," is often just saying, "I'm scared." And saying, "You're incredible," can be the first note of a farewell. I told Liam he was incredible. I told him I wasn't ready. He smiled faintly, paid the bill, and walked.